Hello, hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And Corey Thompson from Above Board and other stuff.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 363. And we're recording this on April 1st, 2025. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Maybe they won't believe anything we say today. No, we would never lie to you.
I have learned that April Fool's Day is a bad day to start like looking through the internet for news
Yeah, it's a
on
really
board
bad
game
day.
stuff.
Anyway, Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. So yes, gentlemen, we've actually done one on April Fools in the past, recorded one, but we've never done an April Fool's joke. Maybe we'll do one today, maybe not. We'll see what happens, guys. You'll always be on the lookout for it. But Ignacy, what's happening over in Poland right now?
So, it's a
Uh-oh.
long story. So I have probably, if in the future we do the top 10 of the most crazy, silly, weird news of the whole podcast, this one will make it. And this
Uh-oh.
is not Apple joke, which is really weird.
This is
So
not
guys,
this is not
it,
April
it
Fool's joke.
so what I'm going to tell right now is not Apple joke. You can Google it. It's a real thing, but it is weird and silly. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
So this week I gave interview to the National Post. This is the daily newspaper from Canada about
Oh,
Donald Trump, his statement about 51st State and Canada, and I
wow.
was interviewed as a designer of the game 51st State.
That is
And
hysterical.
this is insane. It was published yesterday. You can literally find me on National Post Canadian newspaper, and I'm giving interview.
Wow.
And Mary said there is no way she's coming with me to America now because we will be for sure stopped at the customs.
No.
You know what, Ignacy? You
I'll,
won't be
I'll protect
stopped.
you.
You won't be stopped because nobody could pronounce your name, much less spell it. So don't worry about it. I think you're going to be
I
fine coming in and out of the U.S.
I checked the article, I checked the interview. My name was pronounced very well, so I'm very, very happy. But yeah, so in the history of the podcast, this is one of the weirdest things. I gave interview about my opinions about statement of President of America and
Did
51st
did
state and
did
Canada.
did they reach out to you?
Yes,
And
yes.
I've never obviously as Americans we
Journalists from this newspaper found
yeah.
out about the game 51st State and wanted to reach me. What is my opinion and if it was in any way inspired by the whole concept.
No, that's so funny. I've got to go. I got to
Wow.
go look up. I don't know the National Post. Obviously, as
I'm
Americans, we
I'm
don't know
putting it
that.
in
Okay,
you'll find it. It's
he's
in
gonna
the
go do
event
it.
deck.
What else? What else you got, Ignacy?
Here's the link.
Oh, there we go. There's a
As
link for Corey.
for the website, I just want to ask all our listeners to support independent, crazy publisher from Europe. So go to Portal Games website, buy a game. You know that I do a good game, so pick anything. I don't know what we have right now on the sale in the promotion, but basically any game you pick from our web store is pretty darn good game. So check out and support us here at Portal Games. As from the gossips and rumors of what's happening at Portal Games, first of all, we are officially on Board Game Arena with 51st State. You can play it for free, so go to Board Game Arena, look for 51st State and have fun, play the game. We have 51st State and the new era expansion implemented and hopefully more if people will be playing, obviously. Bohemians, the last podcast I told you that we need to finish till end of the month. We did finish yesterday, so the game is ready. And terrible news for me. Tomorrow I'm flying. So as you guys
Oh,
know, I'm flying to Leiracon to Portugal. So
Portugal.
so I'm bringing with me prototype, the final version of Bohemians to present to fans. So if any of our listeners will be at Leiracon, they will have a chance to play with me Bohemians. And the upcoming crowdfunding campaign, Race to Berlin, war game from Portal Games, very weird stuff, but it's a great game. April 16th. So I guess the next week I'll be talking more and more because the campaign starts very, very soon. Today I recorded a video for the campaign. and we are working on the social media assets and photos, etc. So busy time. One game is sent to print. One campaign starts very, very soon. I'm giving interviews to the newspapers in Canada. Things are happening.
That's amazing, dude.
Wow.
Corey?
Well, it's been another week. So I've been traveling around like crazy. Right now, you can tell I'm not at a normal place. I'm in LA. I'm in my office at Above Board Studios. Right now, we are doing a secret filming that I'm under NDA and I can't say anything about.
Corey always holds out on us.
Corey, but you're
This
boss
one
of the
is
old bosses. Like
serious.
you overwrite all NDAs. Like you're the boss in town. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell y'all next week
Okay.
because it is going to release, and it's not within our board game circles. It's not going to be as exciting as you think it is, but it'll release on Wednesday.
Very cool.
So we'll talk about it then. So I'm here for this shooting, which is pretty cool. Uh, Other news, I received in the mail 2 copies of the card game Revolve from Kai Kajino, who's the designer of Scout. And this is his new title. So I'm really excited. I'll bring those to the gathering. I'm going to bring them to RageCon most likely when I go in June. It'll be fun. I really enjoyed the game. I got to play it at Dice Tower West briefly. Getting ready for another big group of gamers to come to the house in Napa, and we're going to play all sorts of crazy stuff. The most requested game that I have available for them is Ascending Empires from Play to Z.
Really? Well, that's nice to
Yep.
know. It's been getting a lot of great buzz from people playing. It's so much more than meets the eye, that game, you know. People, oh,
Yeah.
it's a flicking game. No, there's so much to do in that game. It's pretty heavy and nominated for Heavy Game Origins Award. There you go.
So I'm getting ready for that trip. And then, of course, the gathering is kind of looming in, I think, less than 2 weeks now. So very, very excited about that. It's one of my favorites of the year. So travel, travel, travel. I'm in LA until probably for the next week, and then I'm driving back up north, and whew, it's going to be busy, busy. So that's what's
Very
going
good.
on here.
Very good, buddy. Very good. So, as people can see, if they're watching on the Podfather Gaming YouTube channel, I'm not at home. That's not too weird. But what is kind of odd is I'm at Dice Tower headquarters down here in Homestead, Florida. Why would I be here? Because the World Series of Board Gaming is sponsoring the Spring Spectacular, which is going on right now. We have 2 of the ring winners from the World Series here. They're going to be playing games against the Dice Tower folks. Some games. Little funny story is that, you know, we've now done this at least 3 or 4 times. No Dice Tower person has beaten one of the ring winners. And they don't play the ring games. They're just like brand new game. They've never played it before. They read the rules, they get a quick explanation, and they beat them every time. These guys are pretty good. So we'll be doing this, and we're going to be doing it again for the Summer Spectacular, but though I won't be here because I'll be traveling most likely unless Tom moves the dates, but that's up to him. Plus, he's moving the studio, as people kind of know that as well. Anyway, we're here. They're in another studio right now, and they allowed me to use one of their studios to record the podcast, which is
That's
nice.
awesome.
As an aside, Ignacy, you probably know this. Z Garcia's favorite game is 51st State, right? One of his favorite games, if not his favorite game. And also, Tom said something when I asked him, "Hey, man, can I use a studio to record this?" He said, and I said, "Yeah." I said Ignacy couldn't make a change to the date. I was going to try to move it. He goes, "Well, if not, Ignacy's going to be there. You better record." He actually knows. He actually, he actually knows about the stuff that we still do. I mean, I don't know how Tom could possibly think of us as competitors. I mean, we're not. We do something different completely, and you know, we're not monetizing, so it's a completely. But he knows, Ignacy, have not been making the podcast very often, so Tom knows he's still watching you. Anyway,
I appreciate that.
so for anybody out there, you know, you can go back and look at the recordings. But if you're interested in the World Series, please go check out the Dice Tower channel from the Spring Spectacular. You can see the guys playing against them, and they're being interviewed actually as I speak right now, being interviewed by Tom about their experiences. It's not even going to be Steven and John, the CEO. We're both here, but we let the guy. You know what? In your words, guys, tell us what you think about the World Series of Board Gaming, and they are, and they have loved it. So go check it out. Right after this, when I get back from here, I go up to Atlanta for my niece's wedding. Another niece is getting married. And then from Atlanta, we fly out to Singapore for the crazy cruise that I've been talking about.
Wow.
Epic cruise, 27 nights at sea. It's one of Jeff Anderson's cruises under his own brand called Captain Quick's Gaming Adventures. So I'm going to be blogging. I'm going to be posting on Facebook and pictures and stuff. We're stopping in Singapore. We start in Singapore, Vietnam, South Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, end up in Tokyo, Japan, stay on the same ship, go 3 more ports north there in Japan, and then end up back in Seattle, fully trans-Pacific. It's going to be amazing. Going to get some great gaming in when we're at sea a lot of times, but we'll do a lot of posting of pictures and stuff like that. This is one of those once in a lifetime YOLO. Only live, you only live once. You might as well do this thing while you can. So, watch for that as we make these crazy travels. It's going to be great. And by the way, I also just announced for the Podfather Cruise 3 next year, we're going to go Panama Canal, a full transit of the Panama Canal. So if you want to get involved, if you want to be on that, we've already had huge numbers of people sign up. As soon as I announced it, we had 20 people sign up, which is amazing. Never had that kind of rate. Go over to Jeff Anderson's website. It's Quicks, QWYX, Quicks, QWYX.events. That'll show you all the cruises that Jeff runs, period. The BGG at Sea under his own brand and the Podfather Cruises. Go there and you can see what this cruise is about. The pricing is, if you, as long as you can get yourself down to Panama, which is where it's going to start, Colon, Panama, you get on there. We're going to go through the canal, do Western Mexico, end up in LA. Going to be fantastic. And it's for charity. So charity. The net proceeds go to charity. And after that, let's get over to the event deck. All right, so the first thing here, I mean, we have to mention it, Ignacy. Is there, you already mentioned the 51st state post. Is there any other things that you can talk about, like how they got in touch with you? I mean, was there any kind of connection to this person who interviewed you with board gaming at all?
Yeah, so this is the surprise thing was the journalist is a vivid role-playing gamer, so he is a geek as well. He's not big in board games, but he played a lot of role-playing games. So we also chatted about Neuroshima role-playing game, which was not mentioned in the interview. So it was nice because on one hand, of course, we discussed politics. On one hand, we discussed the 51st state and how I came up with the game. But I really felt that I'm talking with a geek, with person from our fandom and our family. So it was very very nice. And of course, the whole interview, the whole discussion, of course, is absolutely absurd that I need to discuss politics in connection with my science fiction game called 51st State. So this is rather surreal. But yes, he reached me. He asked that he learned about the game and if I want to comment. So I did comment. You can find the article online, obviously. And now Mary is very, very angry at me that I was not able to shut up.
You're very full of yourself at the moment, right? That you had this
I think
important.
it's awesome.
I think it's great, dude, that you were able to do that. So congratulations on simply. I mean, I always think, and this is something that we've talked about many times in the past, that the more we can insert ourselves into mainstream culture, the better it is for the hobby, right?
Yeah.
We have to demystify this stuff, these weird things that I have sitting behind me, these board games. What are you playing? Monopoly, right? That's the first thing. No. These are good games, right? We have to
That's true.
explain to people these things. So the more you could be out there doing it, congratulations. I think it's great.
And there's breaking news. the US has just announced that after annexing Greenland, Poland is going to be annexed to the
Okay.
US.
Okay. I I guess that's our April Fool's statement for the day. Yes, I was actually going to mention that maybe we should go after Poland next. Ignacy, then you'd be an American. Isn't that a good idea?
Not funny. No,
No,
no, no.
not funny. Too soon. Too soon. Okay.
Too soon.
So seriously, Corey, so you put this very odd thing in here
I
about, right? This is you.
Yeah, I found
Middle
this absolutely
middle-aged
fascinating.
man trading cards go viral in Japan. What is this middle-aged man?
Now,
I'm not
this is a
middle-aged, I'm old
story.
age.
This is a story from the Tokyo Weekender. And I would love to take sole credit on finding this, but friend of the channel, Marion McBride,
Okay.
she pointed me towards this. So, a small town in Fukuoka Prefecture, the town of Kawara, is playing an old man trading card game where the stars, the features of the trading cards aren't fantasy creatures, anime heroes, or anything, but they are ojisan, which is middle-aged or older men from the local community of Saidosho. So it's insane. This is a very professional level card game. There are 47 different cards in the collection, with 28 of them feature local men with their real stats and special abilities. These are real people. So there's a firewall card that features Mr. Honda, 74 years old, a former fire chief brigade. So
It's
I love that this
I,
community has celebrated their community with a trading card game.
I'm looking at the cards, which I can't read. They're in Japanese, but like one card does say soba on it, like noodles. So you have a soba noodle cook or something like that. As is a much older gentleman in a white shirt, looks like a chef, and obviously you could play him.
I love it.
It's
It says
really interesting.
the most popular card is the all-rounder Mr. Fujii, who's a former prison officer turned community volunteer. His card is so sought after, local kids have started asking him for autographs.
Oh, that is just so beautiful. Uh, again, um, probably this is going to help people get more into gaming. So the more we get out there, just old men, just they
Yeah,
should have the old lady expansion too, though. I think it's a little bit,
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
And then in a follow-up again along TCG lines, Riot Games has given details for their oft rumored League of Legends trading card game.
Hmm.
So it's League of Legends TCG. It was developed by UVS, um, and they've announced Riftbound Origins is the name of the game, and it takes place within the League of Legends universe, which is still a huge fan base. So it's going to hit English speaking markets in October 2025, and this is from ICV2.
The whole thing leaked like a few weeks earlier
Oh,
in
okay.
because in Poland I run a YouTube channel for the geeks, and I run it with Marek, my former employee. Steven knows him. I don't know if Corey you
Yep.
met him. Probably yes.
Hmm.
And Marek on my YouTube channel is running a video series about CCGs. And it was like 2 months ago. He already recorded a video about this game, and I don't remember now the full story. Although I watched the video, but I don't want to put some mistakes here. But it looked like cards from this game were leaked, put on TTS, and everybody could play the game already. And Marek, who is our vlogger for CCGs, already played this game on CCG on TTS and did a review of the game, how the game works. So it was a big news that it will be on the market at some point. And now what you are saying is that now is officially confirmed the release with the prices, schedule, etc., etc.
Yeah, and the official title of the game
Yeah. So
was hidden for a while.
yeah, so it looks amazing. Obviously, on one hand, the League of Legends, so all the video gamers. On the other hand, on Netflix, everybody probably saw Arcane, amazing TV show. So I'm ready, and many of us will be ready. And I guess many years ago, with Steven, we covered the board game from Riot Games,
Yep.
which was super popular and sold like just like that,
Right.
it will be probably the same case.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got a huge following, so this kind of stuff is going to sell. It's just going to sell like crazy, like hotcakes. So if all of you out there, and you should listen to the show all the way to the end, we often have important things. On the last episode, we had big breaking news about the Diamond bankruptcy, that a new bidder came in to buy them. They outbid the stalking horse bid of 39 million and made a bid in excess of 40 million dollars. We don't know the exact number yet. It's probably going to be public later on because this bankruptcy is in public courts in the US. And the name of the company. Now remember, Diamond Comics, which owns Alliance Game Distribution, they went into bankruptcy. So did Alliance Game Distribution. The name of the company that came in to buy the whole thing, all of it, all US assets, just about, not the UK assets, different, is Alliance Entertainment. No
Just to make it
affiliation.
easy.
Yeah, just to make it easy on us because, we needed this. So ICV2 did a really good article on trying to say, well, who are these guys? Alliance Entertainment. Let me give you a little bit, and guys, Corey and Ignacy, if you kind of read down a little bit and pick anything out that you like, I'm going to give the
Yeah.
high level stuff, and then if you see some other things, just point that out when I'm done. So first of all, Alliance Entertainment Holding Corporation, which submitted the winning bid to acquire Diamond Comic Distributors, Alliance Game Distributors, and other assets, is a publicly traded company which allows us to gain an understanding of this new entrant into the world of distribution to the independent game and comic stores. Here's some history. The company's history began in a retail music store founded in 1990 by Jeff Walker and David Horowitz, which began wholesaling CDs a few years later, which led to the founding of music wholesaler Super D in 1995. I remember that company. In 2001, Walker and Horowitz sold a third of the company to Bruce Ogilvie, who had previously built and sold a music distributor to Alliance Entertainment. Between 2001 and 2013, the pair grew sales of Super D from $18 million to $194 million in annual sales. Super D acquired Alliance Entertainment, its largest competitor, in 2013 and merged the companies. At that point, Walker became the CEO of the company and Ogilvie became the executive chairperson. This company is traded on the NASDAQ, which is one of the largest one of the largest stock exchanges in the world,
Mhm.
right? All the technology companies trade on NASDAQ, right? There's the New York Stock Exchange. They're the largest with the biggest companies. There's a couple of other, like the American Stock Exchange, which actually got folded into the New York Stock Exchange. But the NASDAQ is really number 2 after the New York Stock Exchange. And they are now traded on the NASDAQ. Did you guys find any other particularly interesting tidbits in this article? Because it's very cool
Basically,
and
just
detailed.
that Alliance Entertainment's been around a long time, and they've been a distributor of music, video game, and DVDs very, very heavily. So this is their first foray into our end of the entertainment industry. So they're going to be doing comics and games now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that, again, I always like to say our little industry is getting such traction in new places. For these guys, this publicly traded company, which does non geek things, though they have some toys I think that they distribute as well, but they don't do games. They don't do comics. This the games and comics could show up in new places all of a sudden because they've got an entirely different set of retailers that they sell to. So all of a sudden,
Yeah.
there could be this crossover. And this is huge. This is a really big thing. This is much better. I'm gonna state this, much better for our industry, geek
Yeah.
industry in general, than if Universal Canada, which was the one that was gonna potentially buy them, had ended up buying them. I think it's a
Yeah.
really big thing.
Alliance Entertainment, it says later in the article that they are an omni-channel supplier for Walmart, Amazon, Best Buy, Costco, Target, Kohl's, BJ's, Meijer, and Barnes and Noble. So they hit all the major places with
Yeah.
distribution.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. But the bankruptcy news continues, of course, the actual court and hearings and all of that. We found out this week on ICV2, the hearings are delayed. Image slash the Diamond contract details have been announced. And it went like this: in an eventful week in the Diamond Comic Distributors bankruptcy last week, with the highlight auction to determine who will acquire the company. And we round up the latest developments here. The hearing on 3 key matters was adjourned until next Wednesday, April 2nd. So tomorrow will be another hearing. Matters to be decided include the sale of the company to the top bidder, which we now know is Alliance Entertainment. A final purchase agreement has not been filed, presumably because there are still outstanding issues. Proposed bonuses for Diamond employees. We talked about this on the show already, that Diamond wanted to pay out all these big numbers to people, and the guy who was in charge of the bankruptcy said, hold on, the money's got to go in different places, so hold on to that. And Diamond's request to seal some information about the employees recommended for the bonuses. All of this is very common. It's not people like trying to be sneaky. It's very common that the company in bankruptcy will try to take a certain amount of money and give it to key employees, not because they're nice to them, but because they need to retain them. They need to keep them there during this very uncertain times of a bankruptcy. So all of this is kind of common. The distribution agreement between Diamond and Image Comics filed as part of the Image Comics motion objecting to assignment of its agreement to the acquirer included some interesting provisions, including the distribution fee, credit terms, and handling of credit risk. So Image Comics is one of the big,
they're number 3, really.
Number 3, right? It's Marvel, it's DC, it's Image is number 3. And they didn't want their contract with Diamond to necessarily be assumed by the new corporation, Alliance Entertainment. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Sometimes the contracts are like, you can't do this, and sometimes you might be able to do it. It's a very big transferring of contracts is a whole different legal thing. So we have to see how that plays out. Still going to be so much in this legal battle because these things are just really big when that happens. Corey, we have something here about Backer Kid. Did you put this one in here?
I did not.
Oh, Ignacy, talk to me about this.
Yeah, this is me because we mentioned a few times already about the problems when we as industry struggle with tariffs suggested yes by President of the United States of America, and here we have an update from the Atlas Games. This is one of the major role-playing game publishers forever in the industry, and they are about to deliver their newest edition of Ars Magica, one of the most iconic role-playing games in the whole industry. And they mentioned once again very openly to the backers that they are struggling. You may read the paragraph because you're reading better than me, but the whole paragraph about shipping arrangements says how much trouble they face. So our listeners once again understand that this trade war is really very
concerning.
Yeah,
problematic. Very. So the paragraph in particular that Ignacy is mentioning here is about the shipping arrangements, and it's indicating that the current the international trade policy, it's a moving target. At this point, items made in China are subject to a 20% tariff. There's also a threat of a new tax tariff of an additional 25% if a country buys oil from Venezuela, which China does. So that means a 45% tariff. But nobody knows. Tariffs, allegedly, these additional tariffs will go into effect on April 2nd, which is tomorrow, the day after we're doing this recording. So if a company as important as Atlas Games, and they are fairly large, they've got a lot going on, is having these issues, what's it going to mean to Play to Z Games, to Portal Games, to all of us smaller companies?
Yes, and I want to mention one very important factor here. So they already took money from the backers So there's no chance for them to, to adjust to MSRP, to do anything. Like they already had the budget for the production, they got money from the backers, they paid for the manufacturer, and now they will have the product on the ship reaching America, and suddenly their cost will increase by this 20 or 40%. This may put out of the business many companies. This is as simple as that. Every one of our listeners who runs any business understand that if suddenly your costs go up by 20 or 30%, you may not survive that. And this is especially difficult for all these companies who are crowdfunding because they already got money from the customers and they didn't have it in the books that they will have a bigger tax.
Absolutely. It's just amazing. That's the end of the news because Corey tried to put a crazy news story there that probably would have been a April Fool's joke that we would be reporting on. It was actually a news
Not
story.
an April Fool's joke. It really quickly, Hooters went bankrupt, so I felt it had to be mentioned.
My favorite wing. I only go to Hooters for the wings.
And the articles.
And the art. I was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings last night. There's no Hooters there. But yes, Hooters is filed for bankruptcy. But that has nothing to do with board gaming, Corey. So we're going to move right on to strategy and tactics.
A news guy.
So for the last two episodes, we've been talking about Bill Anderson's question. We finally got through parts 1 and part 2 last week with Ignacy because it was really important that we talked about it. There's a lot of AI related questions. It was really good. But Bill has asked us.
Can I do a follow up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Because last week we had a very interesting discussion about the art and stealing art, etc., etc. I was stating that if somebody teaches AI art, it's not stealing. But what happened in these previous weeks, and I guess all our listeners saw that the new AI model can imitate Ghibli style of
Unbelievable.
anime, yes. And now everybody is changing their profile pictures on memes or anything for the Ghibli style, and this I find as a stealing. Like this is wrong. This is bad.
Did
So I'm saying it openly. I was wrong last week. This is not good.
so
What's happening?
yeah, so let's just to give everybody, make sure everybody understands this. The latest version of ChatGPT, which is not even, from my understanding, and I'm not an expert in which is the best program in AI
Most popular.
for artwork. Midjourney is probably the most but the one that more professionals are using for their AI generated art. But ChatGPT just came out with their latest AI art portion of it. It was unbelievable. It was absolutely crazy. Like Studio Ghibli is an amazing anime studio out in Japan. What are some of their big ones? The big titles.
Princess Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke, Kiki's Delivery
How's
Service.
Moving Castle.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. How can we forget
That's
that?
my favorite movie.
Yeah, if you have not seen the Studio Ghibli movies, they're all great. Watch them. And now ChatGPT can literally imitate, copy the style of the animation that they're doing. It was scary.
And this is I now confirm what Corey was saying last week. This is stealing. Like this is taking somebody's style and putting it out, and this is not good. This is not good.
For the most part, when we're going down an AI rabbit hole, but it's so important, I think, for our industry to just have these discussions. We need to have these discussions and not like so many people out there are doing who are just gamers. They're flailing. They're just like, oh, this is horrible. It's horrible. We have to have these discussions. The more we discuss, the more we would potentially come to consensus. So it's just astonishing what they can do. What a lot of the AI programs are doing, they're using the inspiration of all of these other artists and creating something that is a little bit different. This particular thing said, do it like Studio Ghibli, and boom, it was done. Do it like so and so, and it looked like that. That it looked exactly like it. I mean, like it was like, oh my god, how's that?
It's basic generated artwork on a library, and there's enough of a library that they can do a really good copy. So AI is a blender. You put everything into it and it comes out with an answer that it very confidently tells you this is what you asked for, whether it's right or wrong,
Yeah.
and it doesn't care where it got its sources.
Right, right, right.
And doesn't care is a perfect final word about that.
Yeah.
As we discussed,
Right,
ChatGPT doesn't care if they're stealing or not. They're just moving forward because everybody's running forward.
right. And back to our conversation from last week, we hope that there could be a potential for something like this that then can compensate artists. We can't be the ones doing it. We just hope that somebody can put that together. And then we'll all be happy to say yes, and artists can be compensated and we can go move faster, when we do AI art. Anyway, let's get to more of Bill's questions. This is Bill Anderson, who's at Nix603. Thank you for all these very entertaining questions that you've spurred all of this interesting
Oh,
conversation.
they're deep, heavy questions.
Yeah, this next one is like, wow, I don't know how to answer this. He asks, this was his third question, what's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from observing how different cultures around the world approach board gaming? I mean, it's a deep question. It's heavy. It might not have a good answer. I mean, any of
I
you guys have something you can want to add here?
I have like on
Good.
one hand we all say that stereotypes may be offensive or maybe treating people not very well, but on the other hand, these stereotypes are from something, like they are built from something. So, when I was visiting different countries with my games as a publisher, I saw that in different countries people play a little bit different. And if I go to Italy or if I go to France, if I go to Germany, there is a little bit different style of play. And if I may say, my first visit at Bruno Faiduti's Gathering of Friends, and I came here, me, Eurogamer, designer of Robinson Crusoe, heavy game, and at Bruno's, everybody chill out, wine, cheese, have fun, and I'm there with my heavy games, and they like, no, Ignacy, we just here hanging around having fun. So, yes, these stereotypes a little bit are true, and different nations play a little bit different, and I find it fascinating, amazing, and I'm
Yeah.
visiting different countries. I enjoy it.
The stereotype of German games is and it's like the two spectrums, right? You got the light family game, right? The Spiel des Jahres winner is always that light family, and the heavy Euro that has a name of a city or something like that,
Yeah.
something absurd with the same exact picture, a guy looking into the distance, like so. But and maybe there is something there that the heavy German gamers don't don't care as much about theme. But I think that really it's coming around that with communications with the internet in general, but just with people cross going into different
Yeah.
areas, that you're getting science fiction games coming out of Germany, no problem, all the time now. So it has changed over time.
The thing that really surprised me the most is how different games coming out of different countries really were. The first one that really got me was again the French board games. There was a whole slew of board games coming out of France where scoring was an afterthought. It was about the experience, and the rules were very fluid. And it's the perfect example of this for me was Concept, this game of communicating through iconography
Elias Moody.
Yeah.
early Asmodee, and it was very French, and it had that feel, and I hadn't really recognized it up till then. Now I'm seeing it from games coming in from Japan. Japanese card games, especially, are small, tight, elegant card games with rules and ideas in there that just blow me away. They come right out of left field, things I never expected. It's like deal the cards, pass two to the left, and then just punch your neighbor. There's really bizarre rules and exceptions, and I love it. And now I'm starting to play more and more board games coming from India and coming from Africa, and they all have this unique feel to them. You can see inspiration from the board game industry that's already been established, but then they have their own character to it.
I mean, don't you find, and for again, in broad strokes, don't you find all the games out of Asia, Japan especially, Taiwan, Korea, to be a certain style, lighter card based, easy flowing, well
Well,
mechanical games?
not exactly,
No.
because
Okay.
Emperor S4 games out of Singapore tend to be more complicated,
Okay.
intense little packages. Out
Okay.
of Japan, I'm seeing these interesting card games with very bizarre rules in a very tight, small package. Korea, I'm seeing more elaborate games
Okay.
that
So each
have, yeah, they all have their own
each
character,
one of
which,
those Asian countries, but I guess maybe that's probably the better way of putting it. Like the Japanese games seem to have on average, seem to have a certain character. The Korean games seem to have a certain character,
and
and
that was
it's
the biggest
interesting.
surprise for me, is that all of these different sources, I don't know why it's a surprise, I should have expected it, but how differently each of these designers, publishers, and companies think about what is a
Hmm.
game. I love that.
Hmm.
And then we have a Slavic Poland,
Oh, we
and we
don't
have
talk about
and we have
that.
Robinson Crusoe, everybody dies. We have This War of Mine, everybody is dying. You have a
it's
Frostpunk,
it's
everybody is freeze to death, and
yeah,
you
it's
have
basically a very complicated game that takes a long time to set up, and then immediately everybody dies. So it's a
like
30
literal.
minute setup
If you
and
list
then death.
five most famous board games from Poland, they are all about dying.
All I gotta say, you have a very depressive culture.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Continuing with Bill's very, very interesting questions. Number four, considering the advent and incoming wide integration of augmented reality, how do you see this combining with AI to impact board gaming? Very hard question. Can you see in 3 years the World Board Gaming Championship, WBC, or the World Series of Board Gaming, WSBG, that's me, banning Google XR glasses because of Gemini integration giving a wearer too much of an edge in analyzing a game live? Now, I don't know this
Oh,
technology
I
about
know
this.
this.
Corey, I had a feeling you would know exactly what this was about. Go ahead.
So, augmented reality specifically are going to be glasses where you see the real world, but it can analyze what you're looking at, give you information, have a screen telling you what's going on, and integrate CGI elements into real world elements and mix them up. Gemini is the recently introduced Google AI system, and it's another AI system. It does remarkable things like most of the AI systems. I think I think competitive board gaming is still in its infancy. There's not a lot of money involved. There's not a lot of fame involved. There's not a lot of impetus to cheat. It will change if board gaming becomes a higher money, higher fame sport like esports and things like this. Then we will get more regulation, and certainly XR glasses are going to be booted. There's no reason they shouldn't be. And where this is coming from is we've run into a lot of this in professional chess. Chess
Wow.
has a very huge amount of money. In the US, we don't think about it because for some reason in the US, we hate chess. We never talk about it. We don't know anything about it. But professional chess and chess for money worldwide is tremendous. These people are rock stars. They are rich, rich, rich from their winnings. And there's a lot of both in person and online sources of making money playing professional chess. And they have had tremendous problems with
There was many accusations
AI.
lately, right?
There were many accusations lately about
Oh, yeah.
cheating, but it wasn't with AI glasses. It was
It, it
other bizarre
was
things.
all of the cheating leads back to AI models that play chess better than people do.
Yeah.
If you can get a hint, and I've actually consulted with some professional chess players and people who run the tournaments for chess. It's really surprising if you are a professional chess player and you're playing in a tournament, how many pieces of information do you think you need during a game to ensure a win? And it's ridiculously low. You probably need 2 to 3 bits, yes, no, of information the entire game. And that will give you enough of an edge to win every time because these people are all playing on such a high level. Any little piece of information, even one little light in a corner of the auditorium that says, hey, this move is that guy's weak move, you dominate.
It's
So
it's astonishing.
So if you can have one car honk its horn in the parking lot, if you can have one light flicker, so they're being tremendously paranoid about what is allowed into in-person tournaments, and the online tournaments are just wild west. There are so many ways people can
Oh
cheat in
yeah.
those, but in person, they are scanning people, X-raying people, metal detector, putting them in isolated rooms, not allowing. They're putting delays on the telecasting of the game. They're really scared of tiny little bits of information tremendously changing the outcome of the game.
And with that, Bill, great questions. You still have more that you're asking us, but we're going to get to that next week. I promised these guys we're not going to go long today. So let's get over to playtesting. Corey, as usual, you gave us a great question last week. It was
Oh, as
ridiculous,
usual, I
as
always give
usual.
great questions.
I saw there is not many answer for these
There's
questions,
not
which
many.
yeah, and it makes me so happy because it shows that people are not finding many games that are broken. Like if you think about the whole concept, the question was about what game is broken, and you still love it. And there was no many games listed that they are broken, but I still love it.
All right.
So me as a from the view of designer, I'm very happy. Almost nobody answered this question.
Corey, what was the
The
question? Let's make sure
the
we get the
question is,
question out.
given the rules as written, what is the most broken game that you still love to play? And I say this with love. I have a number of games I love to play that are so broken. I mean, they they have overpowered player characters or rules that just spiral out of control, but they're fun. So I say this with love. I'm not trying to badmouth early games or this kind of design or this kind of publisher or anything like that. These are games that we love. So myself, my favorite is probably anything by Chudik, and we did have a couple people talking about
Innovation, yes.
innovation.
Eh,
Evan Halbert said,
yep.
"Innovation. Every play is so beautifully broken in its own way, with how card abilities interact, but somehow can often go back and forth and still come down to the wire." So it's a lovely game.
There was this discussion about Monopoly. That
Oh yeah,
Kirk W said. I assumed that the way that everybody learned Monopoly was that someone taught them the rules, and then you taught the next rules, and these house rules kept getting
yeah.
added. Monopoly is not a broken game if you play it by the actual rules. It's an absurd game if you play it with, like, okay, every time you spend money, it goes into the center of the table. When somebody goes to free parking, you get all that money.
All of the house rules.
All
Yeah.
of these crazy, stupid house rules that make it a broken,
Well, it's because it's
crazy
been
game.
a family game passed from person to person to
Yeah.
person for before it was even published in the 1930s. Well before that, it was this folk game that people had a handmade copy and they just pass it down. And Peter Woken really brought this out and said it's amazing how many people have played the game telephone while trying to learn a game
Yeah.
because it's, I learned it from someone who learned it from someone who learned it from someone who learned it. And I've played games wrong for lots of times because I was taught wrong and they were taught wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fun still.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Corey, what do we have for next week?
So next week, I really was fascinated with this idea of different industries have different uniforms. So describe your go-to t-shirt or outfit that you pack for every convention or gaming event, and why do you love this
Yeah.
apparel? Now,
I
of course, if you've seen me at recent conventions, I've been wearing this ridiculous yellow shirt that has corn all over. It's just,
You look like a corn cob,
but I'll
corn
tell you,
stalk.
anybody can find me at a convention.
Who wants to find you? Maybe is a better question. But okay, I agree. I agree. I agree. It's too easy for me. Obviously, back in the day, it was the Stronghold red shirts, and now it's the Podfather of Gaming in various colors. I am wearing red again in the Podfather of Gaming. It's my logo is
Nice.
black and red. So, yeah, but Ignacy, do you wear? I'm trying to remember. Do you actually wear Portal Game shirts when you're at
No,
conventions? You don't even
No,
do that.
no.
Always
My
be branding, my friend.
y-
Always be branding.
Yeah, I know, but my branding is different. My first Gen Con, I had a T-shirt with my name, how to pronounce Trzewiczek, so it was pretty funny, so
Very
people
nice.
can know how to pronounce my name. And then, of course, I was Cookie Monster, so I have a lot of T-shirts with Cookie Monsters, a lot of different designs. So at conventions, in most cases, I'm a Cookie Monster.
I love it.
That's pretty good. I bet we're going to get very interesting because Corey, when you first put the question out, you just said go-to t-shirt, and I changed it to or outfit that you pack. And why? Why does this appeal to you? So I see Ignacy. I actually see him doing this. He's taking that question. He's going to put it over in our guild. Please go there and answer it, and we may take your answer next week. Now, let's get to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To be part of this podcast, we would love for you to go to Board Game Geek, find the guild, become a member, then just ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment in that thread, or answer our question for the playtesting segment in that thread. It's easy. We want to hear from you. That's great. Interact with us as well on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube. Please go to Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play to Z Games, Above Board TV, and Nerd About Show. We're kind of busy, as you can see. And please pick the social media of your choice. Interact with us. We're going to be the ones replying directly to you. A special call out, of course, to the YouTube channels where most of our business is done: Portal Games Studio, The Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. We're going to see you at an upcoming convention. If you go into the Gathering of Friends, that'll be Corey. If you're going to Lyricon, Ignacy goes tomorrow to Lyricon. And if you're on an epic cruise in Singapore with Jeff Anderson on the Captain Quick's Gaming Adventures, Bonacor will be there. Let's game. Let's get a drink. Let's hang out in Southeast Asia. Going to be amazing. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the show. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, the in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. And he can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Gentlemen, we've done it. Another great episode. Thank you for being here with me. Anything you want to say to the audience? Any news, little tidbit that we have not mentioned yet? I see blank looks.
If there are any custom workers, please let me in.
Are you coming to the U.S. anytime soon?
I'm coming. Yeah. This is the whole problem. I'm coming to Niagara
The
Falls
gathering.
for
You are
Gathering of
going.
Friends.
You are going to the gathering, and I'm missing
That's
you.
that's why Mary is so angry at me that I gave interview 2 weeks before we are entering border.
Because you didn't come last year, so
Yeah,
I'm missing you. I am so sad. Oh man,
I will see.
darn.
Hopefully at the Gen Con if things will
Oh,
go
that's
well.
great. Yeah, no. For the record, people out there, I don't think most people will have a problem coming in and out. There's still millions of people coming in and out every
No.
year.
On one hand, absolutely yes. Planes are landing right
Yeah,
as we are speaking all the
right.
time. On the
Constantly.
other hand, in Germany and in France, there is official statement from the government to the citizens who travel.
Really.
Uh, yeah. We have official information for the citizens of Germany and France how to act, what to prepare, and how to. And because there's so many cases where people are stopped, like this is happening.
On behalf of all normal American citizens, I apologize. I wish you safe travels, Ignacy,
Yeah.
to all of your conventions, because you don't travel much. And make sure you put a little tag in your luggage, an Apple tag, Apple tags, so that you can find your luggage.
The little
Wherever it is.
GPS locator thing.
What Apple tags? What are they called?
I have so much experience with losing my luggage. That is,
You're very good at that.
yeah, I'm not the best one.
Air tags. That's it. I have an air tag. I always put them. I have 4 of them,
Yeah.
and we always when we travel, we put an air tag in all the luggage. So you'll find out if it doesn't make the plane. Even oh, look at it. It's still in Newark, New Jersey, and I got back to Florida. Oh, I hate that. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care.
See you, everyone.
Uh...